This is about, sorry about the bad film quality. This is about Lenin, Stalin, and the Bolshevik Revolution and the elements of how they controlled culture, which I feel is interesting. So this is from Turning Points in History, Vejas Gabriel Levicius. So it's just the teaching company, Great Courses.
A final modernization. Marx projected a coming great final revolution which would eliminate all inequalities, all private property, and all classes but the working class. He and his followers claimed that theirs was a scientific socialism that had discerned the direction of history and history's iron laws. This conviction of certainty, which they gained as a result, gave vast confidence to revolutionaries like Lenin and Stalin. But it could also be used to justify great crimes, imposing final solutions to the problems of modernity. Stalin proved a great master of just such atrocities in the name of modernization, with a death toll in the many, many millions. In this course, we've discussed modernity as a process, and we've discussed different concepts of how to modernize. Like China's Mao, who was discussed in an earlier lecture, Stalin had pressed a compulsory version of modernization that involved subordinating everything to a plan, allegedly scientific, a plan that was synonymous with the will of the infallible leader. It also involved an assault on existing society. In the case of the Soviet Union, this came in the form of a collectivization drive and a famine, like that which later took place under Mao, as well as waves of purges, mass arrests, and executions. And all of this was done in favor of a future planned society. In fact, the lure of planned societies extended very far in the 20th century. The British science fiction author and visionary H.G. Wells, among many others, saw liberal democracy as messy and not really up to the task of building a rational, ordered future. When Wells actually met Stalin in Moscow, Wells proved disappointed, mostly because Stalin wouldn't accept his advice about how to govern. But Wells kept returning, nonetheless, in his writings and musings on the future, to the idea of a dictatorship of elite experts, who would scientifically plan and regiment society and individuals, all in the name of progress. Even at the time, these hopes were really willfully naive. After the Allied victory in the Second World War, Stalin expanded his personal rule. The Soviet Union absorbed the Baltic states, parts of Poland, and set up allied regimes in Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Romania, and Bulgaria. Stalinist political systems were imposed on these countries, and a sustained assault took place on their societies to bring those societies under state control. The real aim was to eliminate civil society. Civil society is that zone between the individual and the state or government, that zone where voluntary relations and interactions take place, a zone of organizations, churches, clubs, even friendships. Across Central and Eastern Europe, where the victorious Red Army was stationed, the Soviet takeover was experienced as colonialism. Not overseas imperialism, but in Europe itself. As the Cold War escalated, with the former allies, the United States and the Soviet Union, squaring off against one another, it was the defeated and occupied land of Germany that was ground zero. Germany was divided into separate zones of military occupation, and its capital, Berlin, likewise was divided into zones, even though it was inside the Soviet zone itself. Eventually, a federal republic of Germany under American sponsorship was established in the West, and the German Democratic Republic under Soviet sponsorship in the East. Both claimed to be the one true legitimate Germany. For years, for Stalin and then for his successor Khrushchev, the existence of West Berlin inside their area of control was an irritant and really an offense. The result was a series of Berlin crises, which made the city a hot spot where the Cold War might potentially tip over into World War III.
And I just feel like it's significant about that civil disruption that he was talking about. And I see that having happened in 2020, the interference of civil society where there's not commerce going on with small businesses. Instead, the too big to fail organizations, corporations like Walmart, Amazon, things like that, those remained open throughout the whole shutdown. And then small businesses were, I don't know, they just capitulated, it seemed, except for a handful. It seems like a lot of small businesses just rolled over and allowed them, just died without a whimper. And not only has there been this attack on commerce of small businesses, but there's been an attack on people interacting, family, friends, and that seems to be part of that civil breakdown. So I think there is a Bolshevik coup, that the peaceful protesters are the new brown shirts or the new red guard, that this is a communist takeover, possibly. Were, referring to Stalin and Lenin. And I don't know my history that well. I just heard this and I wanted to share. Thanks for watching.